Don't you just hate it when there's that really, really pesky bolt you can't get to? So you have to make some space for yourself by stripping out the heater matrix. Yeah, we got some talking to do. So the past week we've been making quite a bit of progress, and Saturday night had a big push. I was determined Sunday to get this thing started on the new ECU setup that I haven't run before. No changes to the internal engine, but with the new manifold, inlet manifold, and a whole lot of change. There was a lot of positive. However, with positive, 2 steps forward, 1 step back is what it is. But let's show you some stuff. Under the bonnet, manifold. That was mounted Friday night. Tightened up all the fuel lines, ready for Saturday to get some fuel in the car, so that Sunday prime the system, make sure there's no leaks. Kind of didn't reach that part. One of the bummer parts is the alternator. With this, it's an alternator that wasn't off of a Corsa because that wouldn't fit under the manifold, had to go small. So custom bracket, that was made by Dave the welder a year and a half ago now, but it does the job perfectly. Somewhere down there, it's a bit dark down there, I haven't got a torch on or adjusted the light. See what I can do post in editing. But yeah, anyway, down there, the belt, there is an automatic tensioner. However, the problem I found is that when moving the tensioner, it doesn't go to a position to fit the belt. So because I've changed the angle of where the alternator sits and where the alternator pulley is, that tensioner is now useless. Also, the belt will rub on the bolt for the tensioner pulley. So I've got to come up with a solution. The idea is using this bracket, we go a little bit old school. So before automatic tensioners, you used to just have, like this, a slotted bar. You'd move the bolt away and it would tension the belt. So we're going to have to go something like that. It might be using this, it might be using another kind. Somehow, there's plenty out there, so we'll see. I've got an idea, something that can and will be sorted easy enough. That's something we can work with. What else have I got in the engine bay? I've left the oil cooler out because there's no point putting that in there in case the fuel line does need tightening again. Under the bonnet, where else we got? I put all the wire and harness on so that I was all ready for starting. Only thing I didn't connect was an ABS sensor because I've got to make that up. But we've got all the coolant lines all connected up, all the system sealed. Under the bonnet, also throttle cable. Actually finally ran that through. That needs securing down, don't worry about that. But got the cable on there, adjusted it up so when you start moving the pedal, it does start moving that. It needs some adjustment, but it works. The big one was coolant system, and this was where the issues come. So basically, tuck down here, I'm going to grab a torch quickie. In a memento, let there be light. So, the leak, I've actually got a leak coming out between the manifold and the head, tucked down in that corner of the manifold. Why this is, I'm not 100% sure yet. I did put a drop of silicone on a couple of the parts to try and not have that happen. Lo and behold, it didn't work. So that needs the manifold removing, which means removing all the hose connector, all the fuel line, and the throttle cable again. So that is the biggest kick in the teeth, is I've got to strip that down. Hopefully it might just be something silly, like I need a little bit more sealant on there that I shouldn't actually need. But I'll check the manifold, have a look and see what's going on there, because that was dripping out hellishly fast, so it's certainly not gonna work like that. So we need to fix that. Let's have a look at some other stuff. Inside the car, well, you can see I've tucked the carpet out of the way because the heater hose has run down this side. I just had a bad suspicion that something was going to happen, because at some point I had found coolant staining down here already. So rather than risk it, I thought I'd put it back. While inside the car, I've actually got an extender that makes the gear stick work beautifully as well. So one thing sorted, but plenty of others to sort. So yeah, anyway, filled the coolant up. It was a lot slower leak down this side. You can see a little bit of staining down there. However, the problem I've got is it wasn't from that join, from heater matrix to the heater hoses. This leak was coming from the bottom of the hose, which then goes all the way up the back of the heater box. So to fix this, the heater box has got to come out. Not a 5-minute job. Even searching online, I can't find any instructions. I can't find any videos of someone removing it. So I've got to wing it, basically. It shouldn't be too difficult. The dash is out already. That was possibly the hardest part. What the awkward part is going to be is the wiring is mostly cable tied onto the brace, crash bar, but not dash bar, behind, going from side to side. So I've got to see how easy it is, but it'll go a bit dark. Here's what I might find out. We've got to start ripping this thing apart. Firstly though is get the manifold off, because I need to take the hoses off that side of the heater hoses. So let's get cracking. So it's quite surprising how quickly I can actually get this manifold off now, but I may have found something. So one manifold, and I never really checked it over too closely. Never thought I'd really need to. However, I never really checked the face of this, and far from a perfect straight edge, but what you can see is where that should be passing no daylight through. There's daylight. If you continue to carry on as well, you can see daylight, apology for the focusing, most of the way along. I don't know how or why it was modified, but you can see underneath. There's actually another section that's welded on underneath. I think this was to fit another engine, similar to this engine but different. So welded that on so they could get the bolt holes along the bottom. Mine doesn't. It only has one here, one there along the top, one there along the top, and that one at the other end. And these don't get used. However, it's given me a lip all the way along. So this gives me a few options. I can either get the whole surface machined, so it's perfectly flat. I have no idea how much it's going to cost. Never had to look into something like it. They do it to cylinder heads often enough. I don't think it's a horrific cost. It's just finding someone to do it. Second, see if I can find another thicker manifold gasket, similar to what I've got on the exhaust, that could probably take up that slack, and again, bit of sealant around the coolant, that'll probably hold. Other option, standard intake gasket and big glob of sealant around that hole. I'm gonna have a think on that, because yeah, there's a few options. There's no harm having a word, having a think. Don't have to decide tonight, because it ain't gonna be going back tonight. Now for the internal heater hoses. These are where the hoses go through. I've modified that to go onto the manifold. You've probably seen that before in a previous video. What I don't know is if I've pushed these on, have I bent something, damaged something, I don't know. But we have Torx screws in various odd places. That's around the air intake where I've blocked that off. So I'm going to try and remove them, see if it actually gives me any wiggle room on that. So it actually looks like those are the only thing holding it. So, bit of a win. Remove the screws from the bulkhead. And the whole heater box is actually loose. Slight win. So, if I can quickly remove the steering column, because I've never really put it in there properly. One nut. Oh, that's it. I've just got one nut. That was never in there fully. Scoot that outside the car without whoops, damaging anything. And it would have been a whole lot easier if I didn't have the pedal box in here as well. But beggars can't be choosers. because someone jumped the gun on this. The battery on the camera is about to die, so I'm trying to make this as quick as I can. I may succeed, I may not. Who on earth thought modified cars was a good idea? It's not really giving me much more. This hole. I'm not holding out much hope, but you never know. Separate. So frustratingly, the battery died. I'd been running the risk and I'd been recording some other stuff, so it is what it is. However, you may have missed some crucial bits because heater box is now missing. I ended up having to unclip all the wiring that I'd done, even unbolt the fuse box. So it's a real pain in the arse. I'm going to have to redo everything I've done in there. Nah, it is what it is. However, I've got a nice new friend next to me. Hello, Mr. Heaterbox. Welcome to the chat. What do you want to tell us? Yeah, you're fucked. Yeah, simply put, you can see the coolant staining just along the hoses. So this is bulkhead connector. This runs inside the car. There's actually meant to be a lot of padding around this. Had to remove it because it was a dick. So it was the easiest way to get it out. Actually meant to remove the crash bar. I can't be arsed with that, so we've got this. You can see the coolant staining there. I'm yet to try and find out where it's exactly coming from. I think I found some small cracks here and there. So hopefully, if I can take it into work, fill it with a bit of water or pressurise it, soapy water, we'll find some cracks. The only problem is you can't get those from Vauxhall now. They've been discontinued. So next option, we head to Google. Yes, Google, the wonderful thing. I've actually found the part number for them through a local motor factor. Google search, none. They just don't fucking exist. So I can see two options really. One is get a local Pro Alloy local to us. So possibly go and see them. If there is cracks, see if they can weld them up. The other option is potentially see if they can make custom ones. I don't know. We're going to have to find out because it's entering the realm of the unknown. Is what it is. It needs sorting. I can't drive the car with it leaking coolant inside the car, certainly not with carpet, and yeah, it's one of those things. But we are at the stage where we are fault finding now. To me, that's a huge landmark because we've built up this little bit here, this little bit there, and as disappointing as it was to find two coolant leaks, especially the manifold needing to come off, well, that would have had to come off to get the heater box out anyway. So they're tied into each other. It's not the worst thing in the world. They both seem fixable repairs. But they're not just instant, change this gasket and it's going to work. So we'll have to spend a bit of time, have a word with some people about both parts and come up with solutions. But the enthusiasm's not lost because we were friggin' this close to starting it. Yeah, I'll keep that positive. We're still this close now. It's nigh. The starting up is nigh. So I'll take it. We'll crack on. Do what we've got to, and it will be running soon. So thank you for sticking with us. As always, please throw a like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to get more shorts out. I don't know if people like the shorts or not, but it's a quick and easy way of updating rather than long videos like this. However, I still like these, so they'll keep coming as we'll progress. But thank you for sticking with us, and catch you soon.